Hello, let me introduce myself first. My name is Amelia Margaratna Putri. My student ID number is 191-202-1191. I'm from 2C class, English Education Study Program. This is a video for final test of basic grammar course. In this video, I will explain about the relative clause. When you are talking with your friends about someone or thing that your friends don't know, you will explain the characteristic of it which is known by your friends. For example, you want to talk about you see Mary go to the canteen, but your friends don't know which Mary you will talking about. You know, it is the Mary that's known as the most shy girl in the class. So you can say, I see Mary, who is the most shy girl in the class, go to the canteen. So your friends will know which Mary you are talking about. This is a sign of the relative clause application that's shown by the word who in the example. What is the relative clause? How is the structure and the use? And what are the types of relative clause? I will explain it in this video. The first is the definition of the relative clause. The relative clause is one kind of dependent clause that cannot stand alone as a sentence without another sentence. The relative clause always begins with a relative pronoun in the sentence. The function of the relative clause is like an adjective, that is to give more information about a noun. That's why the relative clause also called as adjective clause. It's called the relative clause because it's related to words or phrases that have the same meaning in each sentence if the sentence is separated. If we take the previous example and separated it, it will be a sentence. I see Mary go to the canteen and Mary is the most shy girl in the class. This sentence actually relates through the word Mary to make a complete sentence. This is a proof that the relative clause relates through the same word in each sentence. Now is the structure of the relative clause. A relative clause consists of two sentences that mention the same noun. One of those sentences will be the main sentence and the other will be the explanation. The noun of the explanation sentence will be substituted by a relative pronoun. The explanation sentence with a relative pronoun is the relative clause in this sentence. For example, I have two sentences. The first is, I know the man is a policeman. And the second is, he has a brown curly hair. The first sentence will be the main sentence and the other will be the explanation. These sentences mention the same noun, that is the man. Through this noun, we can combine them with a relative pronoun. So the sentence will be, I know the man that has a brown curly hair is a policeman. The sentence start by that has a brown curly hair is the relative clause in this sentence. Now is the use of the relative clause. The type of the noun, the phrase, or the sentence will decide which relative pronoun we can use to combine the sentences. The relative pronouns are who, whom, which, that, whose, where, when, and why. The first is who. Who is used for person as subject. For example, Eric has a great storybook. He brings a red bag. These sentences have the same noun that is Eric, and in those sentences, Eric is a person as subject. So we can combine these sentences with the relative pronoun who. So the sentence will be, Eric, who has a great storybook, brings a red bag. The second is whom. Whom is used for person as object. For example, Willie invites Edward to play with. Edward wears a red jacket. These sentences mention the same noun that is Edward. In the first sentence, Edward is a person as object, so we use whom to combine these sentences. So the sentence will be, Edward, whom Windy invites to play with, wears a red jacket. For a noun, whom usually used in formal circumstances. It's much more common in writing than in speaking. So, in informal, we still use who for person as object. The third is which. Which is used for thing or animal as object or subject. For example, as subject, the rabbit is jumping the grass. The rabbit has a white fur. These sentences, the noun is an animal as subject. So the sentence will be, the rabbit which is jumping the grass has a white fur. As object, I read a book. The book makes me know more about fishing. One of those sentences use the noun, the thing as object. So the sentence will be, I read a book which makes me know more about fishing. Which can also refer to a whole of the sentence. For example, I see my old friend, which is surprised me. In this sentence, which doesn't refer to I or my old friend, but it refers to a whole sentence of I see my old friend. The fourth is that. That can instead who, whom, or which. The example I will take from the previous example of them. For who, Eric, who has a great storybook, brings a red bag. If I change it with that, Eric, that has a great storybook, brings a red bag. For whom, Edward, whom Winnie invites to play with, wears a red jacket. If I change it with that, Edward, that Winnie invites to play with, wears a red jacket. For which, I read a book which makes me know more about fishing. If I change it with that, I read a book that makes me know more about fishing. The fifth is whose. Whose is used for a possession that can be person, thing, or animal. For example, I meet a man. The man is daughter, is an elementary school student. The second sentence has the man is possession. So we use whose to substitute the man is to combine these sentences. So the sentence will be, I meet a man whose daughter is an elementary school student. The sixth is where, when, and why. Where is used for place, when is used for time, and why is used for reason. They usually used in informal and instead with preposition that sound formal. Where can instead with preposition in or at. For example, the shop where people can get the candy is near the traffic light. If we change it with which, the shop at which people can get the candy is near the traffic light. When can instead with preposition in or on. For example, I slipped down when my mother called me. If we use which, it will be I was slipped down on which my mother called me. Why instead for which? For example, that's why you met at her. If we change it with which, that explains for which you met at her. Now is the use in formal and informal circumstance. In formal circumstance, it will be added a preposition before the relative pronoun. The relative pronouns that can be used in formal circumstances are whom, which, and whose. For example, the man with whom I go is my friend in the class. The shop from which I get the paper is near the office. I meet Gary, from whose book you borrowed. If the preposition is placed at the end of the clause with the relative pronoun who, it will sound less formal. For example, the man whom I go with is my friend in the class. In informal circumstances, we can use all the relative pronouns except whom. For person as object, in informal, we can use who, as I said before. The preposition in informal is placed at the end of the clause. For example, the man who I go with is my friend in the class. The shop which I get the paper from is near the office. I meet Gary, whose book you borrowed from. Now the type of the relative clause. The relative clause can be distinguished to be defining and non-defining clause. Defining clause gives information that's necessary for complete identification of the noun. This type doesn't use a comma. For example, the girl who is sitting is my sister. I take the ball that hit my head. Non-defining clause gives extra information that's unnecessary for complete identification of the noun. This type always uses commas in the beginning and the ending of the clause. Note that we cannot use that in non-defining clause. Example, Manda, who has a sweet smile, comes to the canteen with her friends. Mike's ball, which is thrown by Daisy, sticks in the mango tree. Okay, that's all my explanation of the relative clause. Hope you enjoy this video and understand about the relative clause. I'm sorry for my bad speak and my false words. And thank you for watching this video. See you and goodbye.